Section 1-2, qualitative and quantitative. Anybody know the difference between qualitative and quantitative before we go real far? You just did it and so, really? Tell them to quit stealing my stuff. Qualitative deals with some kind of quality, some kind of characteristic, right? Quantitative deals with some kind of numbers. Now you got to be careful. If I say your age, is that quantitative or qualitative? Quala? With the L? Maybe. Does it also deal with the number? It could sort of be both. If I say your phone number, it deals with numbers, so does that mean it's a quantitative? So you got to be careful. Just because it has numbers in it, does that mean that that's always going to be the quantitative one? No. A lot of people get confused. You got Social Security numbers. Is that a qualitative or a quantitative? That's a quality.
But it's also like what we're all numbered.
You're numbered, but your number, let's say your number is that's your Social Security number. I'm wrong. There's only supposed to be 3 numbers to start in. You guys don't know your Social Security number?
Actually, just put mine in something this morning.
Huh?
I put mine in this morning on paper.
You're going to have to know it when if you go off and take any classes or anything. It's not near as big a deal as it used to be, but when I was in college,
They're like, if you don't get your social security card right now, like you're in big trouble, like you need it now.
Yeah, they make you like text your parents immediately if you didn't know it or anything.
see, and that's the way it is in college. If you don't know it, they won't make you do all that. They'll just say go away. That's what they'll ask. Which Social Security number? Next. That's what they'll say, and they'll get the next person. And then you go back to the back of the line until you figure everything out. Because they're not going to mess with you. That's what they go by.
But like nowadays, the only thing that's really not important is the last 4 digits anyway. Anytime you have a card number or anything, it's less.
Sometimes, but for stuff like college or something like that, they might want it all. All right. So if that's your Social Security number, and we're talking about if it's qualitative or quantitative, and then let's say somebody else has this Social Security number. Because they're one lower, theirs is one lower than yours, does that really mean anything? Does it mean they were born before you or after you or anything like that? No, it doesn't mean anything. This is just a number to identify that certain person. Doesn't have anything to do with when or where. Mr. Ebersole, because he's old, his Social Security number doesn't look like this. Too many. That's not what my Social Security number looks like. All right. So that's one of the things we're going to go over. Probably the hardest thing that we're going to go over today. Classifying data with respect to 4 different levels of measurement. And it's not really hard. You just really got to think and say, okay, what level is each one of these on? Qualitative data consists of attributes, labels. This says non-numerical entries. Could they be numerical? Yeah, they could be. Different things might be your place of birth, your eye color, your hair color, your major, so on, so on, so on. Just some kind of quality. Some kind of quality. You said zoology, is that what you said you guys are doing this in? Is this new counselor pretty soft or something? Anybody talk to her?
I took her over there.
She's pretty soft.
The counselor.
You know what I mean by soft? She's just in there going, yes, Michael, you can do whatever you want. And no. I don't know. I just see a lot of people changing classes and stuff.
She won't let me hate people though.
That's good. Maybe she ain't. See a lot of people changing stuff, and I'm thinking, why?
You know, yeah, first of all, they put me in a class, I got a zoology, they put me in a class I didn't want, that I already took, and I don't need the credit for it. It's a P2, like PE2, not advanced P2. What? No, it's dumb.
Now see that makes sense. If you've already taken it, that makes sense. Because I had a student who had already taken geometry, and I didn't know it. Well, they took him out of my class. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. All right, take him out. But just to move somebody out, you know, if like you're going to get out of this class and go aid for somebody, as a high school counselor, I don't think that ought to be the case. See, that's I think somebody ought to tell Michael, you're a smart young man. You don't need to be sitting there on your butt doing nothing, aiding for that person. Go learn.
You think we don't do nothing?
Go learn something.
I don't know. They make me work in the office. I don't know. I went to the weight room this morning. I was walking around everywhere.
Yeah,
Terrible.
Boy, Lily's gonna have a whole lot of trouble when she gets a real job.
I do have a real job.
If she thinks walking around is.
I've had a job for
hard
almost 2
thing.
years now.
So then you know, what they make you do is probably not all that real difficult.
Okay, but I don't want to come to school.
Walk around and go, Jenna, I need so-and-so to come down to the office.
I've been at work since 10 p.m. last night. I wake up at 5:30 and I come here and
How old are you?
I'm 17.
We're 17, so let's see, the average female is living about 78 years, 78 minus that's 61. You only got 61 more years of it. In other words, you're going to be working your whole life.
Yeah, I get that.
Unless you get that water.
Unless what?
I've been working a damn mile.
Well, you might have to still work. I don't think that
Now, if you hit the Meg one,
I don't know. If you look back, if at some point, and we'll look at the lottery, if we look back over it, and you look back at past winners, there's like 50 or 60% of them who are either dead or in jail. Of the big winners.
But I'm not saying that we don't do nothing. I'm saying I do like my homework while I'm waiting out here. Like, if they're gonna tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it. But I'm just saying I don't do nothing.
That's okay, I shouldn't say nothing. But last year I walked down by Isaac every day when he was aiding downstairs. There wasn't a whole lot going on.
Well, last year probably there wasn't a lot.
And
Really good, but
they're sending you around right now doing stuff. But when I see aides in the office a lot of times, like I walked down there earlier and there was 3 people sitting in there.
well, they're not always.
There wasn't a whole lot going on.
There's not usually like.
If you go to bed
I'll look here in a second to see if I can find one. Which question, Alan?
I try to hold it, but
Why didn't you go with?
I think
because I don't like going in those.
Okay, I can respect that.
Hurry up, hurry up.
I think so.
Quantitative, age, weight, temperature, all this stuff quantitative. Hurry up, Alex, because we're going to try to wait on you. Data sets can consist of two types. Qualitative, the same thing. So you got your data, qualitative or quantitative.
Can you go back?
You didn't write, that's the same stuff you just wrote down.
Oh, okay.
That's the same thing, I just put it in a different form.
Oh, okay.
It's qualitative and quantitative still.
Yeah, I think I got that.
On this, just an example here, the base prices of several vehicles are shown in the table. Which side of the data is qualitative and which are quantitative? Which side's qualitative? Which side shows just a quality? The left side. Which one shows quantity? The right with the money. Go ahead and write those down. The levels of measurements. Different levels of measurements.
We don't play this. Are you ready for?
Different levels of measurements. This is the part I said was going to be a little tough problem. Does anybody know what nominal means? Nominal. Anybody know what ordinal means? Ordinary, maybe? Is that what it?
I know an interval.
What's an interval?
It's like amount.
How about ratio?
It's like amount. That's
Oh, I think I get it. There's would like ratio. All right, so would nominal be a fraction and ordinal be? No. This seems like we do right. What is it?
We're gonna find out here in a minute, I guess. I was just hoping maybe you knew what nominal meant.
Like nominator?
Sorta, you sorta got the wrong suffix on the end. So these go in order, lowest to highest. Now it doesn't mean that this one's better than this one just because it goes from lowest to highest. It goes in order, lowest to highest, according to what we can actually do with them. All right? So nominal, we can't do as much with as we can with something at the ratio level. When I say do something with them, what are we doing in here probably most of the time? Doing some kind of, okay, doing some kind of math. So we can't do a whole lot with nominal, mathematically speaking, but ratio we can do more with. The first one, nominal. I don't care how you do this. You wrote all that rest stuff down. You just wanted to write out to the side somehow. I don't care. Your notes. And this is probably a bad word to use there. Because calculated tells somebody what? That you're doing math. We're not doing any math there. Trying to think of a different word that could go in there instead of calculated. Define, using names, so on and so on. Maybe something like that. Stuff at the nominal level are only qualitative. So they're only given some kind of quality. If we were to name, if I was to look at each of your schedules, it gives me stuff at the nominal level. It tells me that you're taking probability and statistics, zoology, French, whatever. All right? Those are nominal. The one word I would maybe put with nominal, and this doesn't work all the time, but this is where nominal comes from. It gives you names. Names of classes, names of groups, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, so on and so on. That's a nominal level bunch of data. Again, stuff at the nominal level, can't do any math with it. There's no computations. You can't add, subtract, multiply, or divide with things at the nominal level. Even if it's like PE1 and PE2. Just because they got numbers in there doesn't mean you can do anything at that level. You can't do any kind of... Stuff like colors in the U.S. flags, names of students in the class, textbooks, classes, so on and so on. It's all stuff. Ordinal. Quit messing with that phone. You were too, don't lie to me.
She likes to.
Is that why you said watch this and get scared? That's what I thought.
I was like,
She was over there had her.
ah.
What did I say that first day when I had this argument? So Mr. Ebersole's old eyes was deceiving him when he seen Lily. This is Lily's phone. This is Lily's phone laying inside her binder, and she's doing this.
Listen, I have a pop socket and it changes colors. I've been touching it. You can ask her. She touched it too. I've just been messing with the colors of my pop socket.
I was awesome.
Wait, I can't focus. Someone else.
Ordinal. What should you think of when you think of ordinal then? What's one word? Order. Order. So stuff at the ordinal level. Could be qualitative, it could be quantitative. It could be either one of them. But it puts everything in some kind of order. Now, when you put stuff in order that way, let's say your classes. You got your classes. First block, you take whatever. Second block, you take whatever. Third block, you take whatever. Fourth block, you take whatever. You're putting them in order so they're at the ordinal level, but just because you take something first block, does that mean it's better than the second block or the third block or the fourth block? That doesn't have anything to do with it. So the differences between the data are not meaningful. Something you take fourth block isn't 4 times as good as whatever you take first block. That's not the way it works. So those numbers, just put them in order, but it's not, it doesn't mean that one's 4 times better than the other. So we can't do like subtraction or addition with any of these numbers. They're just in some kind of order. Again, it could be qualitative, it could be quantitative. The numbers could mean something. Like if we're looking at senior class and we're looking at who's ranked number 1, who's ranked number 2, who's ranked number 3. That puts them in order. So it means something, but does it necessarily mean that they're at number 1, they're twice as good as that person at number 2?
Well, what about senior class, yeah?
Is it, you got one person that's way above everybody else?
No, I'm just saying seniors are always better.
Oh, if
The
you're talking classes overall. All right. So, class standings, number on the back of each player's shirt. Just because Michael picks number 1, does that mean he's the best basketball player? Yeah, we've all seen that. Top 50 songs played on the radio, song. So if we listed all your ACT scores, if we listed your ACT scores up here, would that mean whoever had the highest score was 2 or 3 times better than everybody else? Not necessarily. So that's ordinal. Nominal, just qualitative. Ordinal could be qualitative or quantitative, but it puts the stuff in order. We already wrote all that. We're not going to write it again. Interval. Interval level. These last 3 levels, this is where it gets the ordinal, interval, and ratio. It's sort of hard to distinguish. Nominal is pretty easy to pick out. The other 3, sometimes you can sort of get them mixed up. Riley, apparently you need some counseling.
I guess I already been down there once.
Do that for me?
Riley, tell her, say, Ebersole said I ain't got time for this. We're learning math, and that's all that matters. Alex, is your handwriting good enough that when she gets back she can figure it out?
Yeah.
Probably not. Jenna, would you help her out? And like the way Alex said, yeah.
So good.
So, interval. Something that you should write down on the interval here. Couple of things.
Why would you write it?
On the interval, it is not an inherent zero. What that means, usually when somebody sees zero, they think of what? Nothing. If I say the temperature outside is 0 degrees, does that mean there is no temperature outside? No. That's an inherent zero. Inherent means that zero stands for nothing. Right? If I ask you how much money you got in your pocket and you say none, that's a zero. That's an inherent zero.
So like when 0 means nothing.
You just said 0 means nothing.
In this case, all right, so listen again. An inherent zero is when 0 means that you have nothing. This 0 on the interval level, that 0 means something, like for temperature. If the temperature is 0 degrees outside, that doesn't mean that there's no temperature outside. That means it's really cold. All right? So you've got to be able to distinguish between an inherent 0, when that 0 means none, and when that 0 still means something according to the scale or the interval
So that's called an
that you're on.
What 0 is that called? Interval 0?
It's an inherent 0
When it means nothing.
when it means nothing.
And then what's
It doesn't have a name. But this one, on this level, so if we do something like, and again, I keep going back to temperatures because that's the easiest one. Let's do years. If we're on a timeline and we go to the year 0, does that mean, oh, there wasn't a year that year? No, it means it was year 0 before we got to year 1, year 2, year 3. All right? So, it's not an inherent 0. If we could have done the next one first before this, we would have talked about inherent 0, and then we'd say that this one is not an inherent 0, but the way the levels go, we can't do that. The other thing I would say with interval, you might write down with it, if you add or subtract, those answers actually mean something. The other two levels that we've done up to this point, you couldn't do any math with them. This one, if you add or subtract, it actually means something. Right now outside, it's 92 degrees. This morning when I came in, it was 70 degrees. I can subtract those two, and I know what? It went up 22 degrees since I've been here at school. All right? I don't have any idea what it is outside right now. I was just making a guess. All right? But I know that's about what it was supposed to end up today. So it's went up. That's on the interval level. We can add or subtract. Now, the things we can't do on the interval level, we can't multiply or divide. I can't take 92 times 70 and have that number mean anything. All right? It's not going to mean anything. Or something like, oh, the last 3 days it's been over 90 degrees. Well, I can't take 90 times that and say, oh, so we've done 270 degrees over the last 3 days. It doesn't work that way. The interval level. So, interval level, quantitative, always the numbers, always dealing with numbers. Data can be ordered. Differences mean something. Last level, ratio level. What is a ratio? Something over something. And what's that over mean in math? What operation? Division. So a ratio, what you're saying at the ratio level is that we can divide the two numbers and the answer actually means something. Did you tell her? That's what she looked at, okay?
Yeah.
Why?
I hope you didn't tell her because she already seems like she doesn't like me too much. A lot of these new teachers don't understand my humor, I don't guess. You can't mess with me. They just look at me like I'm stupid.
That's all people.
Thanks a lot, Jenna.
What? I was saying, no, I was saying that
I'll
people
remember
don't
that when I'm doing the
understand.
grades.
You finished your sentence where I was meaning like all people are soft today. That's what I was meaning, and then you said that.
Jen, the first 9 weeks, 59.
Oh, with the ratio. I was saying people are soft.
All right.
Most people are soft. You can really
Yeah,
soft.
can't take nothing, can't take somebody joking with them or anything.
I get in trouble all the time for it. But supposedly jokes aren't jokes anymore. Everything's taken to heart.
Oh, yeah. Jenna, you're hurting my feelings.
Good.
Oh yeah, at work I asked for some food that I needed to be made, and I said please, and I was told that I was yelling at them. I was like, can I get this please? And they're like, you need to stop yelling at them. I was like,
So data to ratio level are similar to the interval level, so they're real easy to get mixed up, but 0 is meaningful, all right? Again, 0 means nothing. All right? I should have changed that. This is, you can probably tell that I stole some of this PowerPoint off of somebody else because I didn't do all this stuff. No, I didn't steal it all. Like the last slide I did myself when I
What are you gonna do?
went through it.
Man, if you can figure out this, how can you figure out how to answer your phone?
I answer my phone all the time.
what do you mean?
Oh, you mean my cell phone?
Yeah.
That might be one of those Freudian things where I just don't want to answer it.
He's like, oh, I don't know how.
I don't know why they would have got you a brand new iPhone.
I don't even know, is it an iPhone? Go back here and grab my phone, Alex, and see.
It's like the brand. It looks like the brand new like 12.
There's no way it's some brand new thing because somebody else in the family would have it. This is, yeah.
Oh. What is it?
It is.
Oh. It just looks like.
What is it?
It's pretty new.
I mean, that's still a new Samsung. Yeah.
See, I'm sure it's something that somebody else in my family didn't want, so I got it and they got the newer one. See, that's what I used to have, and they made me change. Well, they didn't make me change.
It was time to change.
He says something for an upgrade.
I was sitting in here one day, and I picked it up, and it was really, really hot, and it started smoking.
Phone did?
Yeah, the battery in it, I don't know, it was like melting the phone or something. I mean, it was hot enough it burnt my hand.
The old battery is the worst.
Yeah.
My grandma was talking about
And when I took it home, I told my wife, she said, throw it away now, you're getting a new phone.
Yeah, I've had a phone like pop up. And
When you text it with your flip phone, did you like abbreviate everything? That's how my grandma does. She puts for every word, it's like two letters. Like it's a whole different language when I go to read her
I
text.
probably didn't even text, I don't know.
I want to flip on just to like get that space.
What do they have like touch screen?
Yeah, now some of the brand new phones, they turn back into flip phones and stuff, I don't know why. So on this, key things that you need to know on this one. Again, 0 is meaningful. I don't like that because 0 is meaningful on the other one also. And it sort of doesn't make sense. But 0 means none. So if I'm asking you a question, if I do a survey and we're trying to figure out who says yes and who says no, and everybody says yes and 0 people say no, that's what we're dealing with here. So it still means something. All right? The other thing with this, exactly what the name sounds like, the ratio of 2 data values can be formed. Remember, ratio, what you're actually doing is dividing. So you can divide, I should just put divide, or multiply. You can divide or multiply with stuff at this level. So if I'm looking at your actual test scores, first test, we take a test and somebody scores this, somebody scores this, somebody scores this, somebody scores this, somebody scores this. And I look at these are at the ratio level, because I can look at this and say that this person scored half as much as that person. So that's why it's at the ratio level. Yeah, hurry up, go. Since I didn't sign Alex's, I'll start next week for sure.
So I better use the restroom this week.
I try to hold it, but like third block, I'm like, I gotta go. Wait, is third block?
So ages are at the ratio level. Grade point averages, weights. If we looked at our weights, if I asked Trinity her weight, which I would never do, we could probably compare my weight to her weight, and she probably weighs half as much as I do, or I weigh twice as much as she does, I'm sure. All right? So when we see something like twice as much, half as much, that we can use. 0 implies none. Some examples here. 2 data sets are shown. Which data set consists of data at the nominal level? Which consists of data at the ordinal level? So left or right, which one's nominal?
Right.
Does everybody agree this one over here is nominal? Again, nominal, it's just giving you what? Names. Some kind of label, some kind of name. Ordinal's putting them in some kind of order. That one's ordinal. Notice here, the order's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that mean that American Idol on Tuesday, that show, was twice as good as American Idol on Wednesday, or they had twice as many viewers or whatever? No, it doesn't mean that. It could have been really, really close, but this one scored higher than this one.
How would we know the difference between ordinal and interval?
That's,
Like if they have.
see, that's
He
where,
said it was wrong.
if you get something like this, they're just telling you an order. We don't know that.
If it says
We,
like 20% of viewers watch American Idol on.
Like if it gives you numbers.
and then
right, problem. So it's, if you can add or subtract, then you're not at the ordinal level anymore. Okay?
We don't know anything about them, we just know that one was watched later.
They're just in some kind of order. So yeah, sometimes it's hard, those 3 levels, sometimes it's hard to tell between the ordinal, interval, and then it's hard to tell between interval and ratio. So you guys said that that's ordinal. The other one's nominal. 2 data sets. Which data consist of interval level stuff? Which data consist of ratio level? So over here we got all the years that the New York Yankees won the World Series. Over there we got the home run totals for teams in the National League in, what's that, 2003?
Right.
This one's ratio. And this one's interval. Does everybody agree with that? Now remember, with ratio, you should be able to take two of the numbers and divide them, and it sort of gives you like a percentage or something. Can we do that with these numbers? Can I look at these two and let's just make a guess here? What's the highest one? Chicago, 236. So Chicago hit 236 home runs, and then let's see here. Let's look at the lowest. I think it's that one. We can almost say that Chicago hit what? Double the home runs. When you can say something like that, that's the ratio level. We could say Chicago hit double or twice as many home runs as Kansas City or something close. That means it's ratio. Over here, can I do that same thing with years and say, oh, this year is double that year, or twice as much as that year? That doesn't make any sense. But with these, can I go from, let's see here, let's find a couple years here. Can I take those 2 years, 1996 and 1978, and subtract them? And is that meaningful? What's that tell me? Right, so it was 18 years since they'd won a World Series. Okay? If we look at the Reds, we go 1990 to 2020. We subtract those. It's been 30 years since the Reds have won a World Series. Can't say it anymore. I wish we still could. But the Chicago Cubs went for like 109 years, and that was great. I wish it was still continuing.
They might have another streak.
They might. That'd be all right with me. So this one was interval level. That one was ratio level. If you think this might help you, write down this chart. If you don't write it down. I don't care one way or the other. Just tells you different things here about each level, sort of puts it all together. All of the levels put data in categories. 3 of the levels put them in some kind of order. 2 of the levels you can actually subtract or add with. And the last one, the ratio level, you can multiply or divide with. No, if Alex is doing this on his test, if I give him a list and he's doing this on his test, Chevy cars, and he's subtracting off Ford cars. If he's doing that on his test, then I know he doesn't know the difference in the levels. All right? Because if he's subtracting the names, then we know something's wrong.
Something's wrong with this.
Got Pop-Tart crumbs on the side of your face.
No, I don't. Wait.
Other side.
Why would I lie to you about something like that?
I'll say with the leg, but not saying. That's very good.
Starting
That's what I heard.
All right, get your books out per your assignment. Since Jenna's whining about it, I think I'm just going to add this to it and not do any of it for you.
Yeah, no.
You wrote for a partner?
I kinda like this, it's kinda like yours.
I was going to do these first 18 together, but
I was joking.
she wasn't joking. She was whining.
Actually, I like this math more than like pre-prep stuff, just stuff I actually know. Somebody definitely spilled stuff.
Why? What about just I just sounds like it was a lie. It just sounds like
Let me know when we're ready.
funny.
We're ready? Number one. Whatever we don't get done is just part of your assignment. Name each level of measurement for which data can be qualitative. Qualitative. There's only two of them. Oh no, is there only two of them?
Wait a second.
Wait a second, I got you.
Qualitative.
Qualitative. So qualities.
Nominal.
Nominal. All right. Nominal and ordinal. Is those the only two?
Wait, qualitative is known numbers, right?
Right.
Nominal. Ordinal.
Nominal and ordinal. Those are the two.
Nominal.
Name the levels that they can be quantitated.
Interval.
Intervals one. Ratios one.
Ratio and,
Ordinal also, right? So that one has three.
Wait a second.
So one of them can be either one. Which one can be either level? Ordinal, right? You put it in order using numbers. With numbers in there, you can put it in order just using names. But it could be either one.
Ordinal, interval, and ratio can all be quantitative, but only nominal and ordinal can be qualitative.
Yeah. Number three, just true or false. Again, we're not going to fix the statement. We're just going to tell true or false. Data at the ordinal level are quantitative only.
False.
False. Number four, for data at the interval level, you cannot calculate meaningful differences.
False.
That's false also. Number five, more types of calculations can be performed with data at the nominal level than with data at the interval level. That's false also. Can't perform any calculations at the nominal level. Number six, data at the ratio level cannot be put in order. That's false. You can put all of them in order or some kind of order. Number 7 through 18 says, determine whether the data are qualitative or quantitative. I'll tell you what I'll do for you on these so that we can make it go a little quicker. You can write those too. Now when it comes test time, because I'm not going to deal with this when Michael tries to do this on his test. When I ask him one of these questions and he tries to do something like this, and I say, all right, Michael, what is that? And he goes, well, what was the answer for that one? And then he tries to tell me. And it's almost like a true and false test Yeah, and I know some of you, at least a couple of you in here have tried to do this before on the true and false test. Do something like that, and your teacher marks it wrong, and you go, what was the answer? False. That was supposed to be an F. That was an F. Look.
That's a good idea.
That's a
though.
good, yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have taught you that. So, qualitative, quantitative. Number 7, telephone numbers. Qual, L, because does it really tell you anything numbers-wise? Sort of does. 437 means that you're in New Paris, right? 273 means you're in El Dorado.
So you said it was
678, it's the L one. 678 means you're over closer to West Manchester, so on and so on. But your number, just because your number is 1111 doesn't mean it's better than 0000 or anything like that. Number 8, heights of hot air balloons.
Fine.
That's with the N, quan. Number 9, body temperatures.
Fine.
Quan again. Number 10, eye collars.
Wall.
That's with the L. Number 11, lengths of songs on, another thing that shows the age of our book, on MP3 players.
Wall.
Which one?
Fine. That's what I
For-
meant.
if- all right, length. So the N one. 12, carrying capacities of pickups.
Wall. What?
Balls.
Which one is it? N or L?
What if it's something you
L.
hold down?
I guess it's fine.
So you got, if you ever look at a pickup truck, you got like half-ton pickup trucks, ton pickup, 3/4 ton. Is that a quality or a quantity?
Quality.
Fine.
I said quality.
I said quantity the first time, you made me say distance.
Did I say anybody was wrong?
Yeah.
I just heard both answers and I can't really. Let's see. Number 13, player numbers on a soccer team.
Quantity.
It's a quality, right? It's an L because does the number really matter? No. When somebody's stupid and they pick number 99 or something like that for a team,
69.
yeah, most coaches won't even give you that number. As
Phoenix got it.
teenagers. Phoenix did? Really? That's because Hoffman doesn't care. He's sort of that way.
Anyway.
Number 14, student ID numbers.
Quantity.
Let's do this so I can, because I can't hear you. I'm going to put it 1 or 2.
2.
Which one is it this time?
One.
It's 1. Because does your student ID number here really mean anything? No, it just means that they're putting you in the computer according to these numbers. Doesn't mean that if your student ID number is 1,250, that doesn't mean
I'm glad we don't have
anything.
that. I hated that about
Weights of infants in a hospital, 1 or 2?
2.
2.
Maybe this and that is
16. Species of trees in a forest,
Fine.
1. It's just a quality. Oak, maple, whatever, pine. 17. Responses on an opinion poll. 1 again, quality.
What was the last one? Last one was 1.
Number 18. Wait times at a grocery store.
2.
Number 2. Quantity. Number 19. We'll go on since we got a few minutes.
Wait, is this what's our homework? Is that our homework?
That's part of your homework. I'm trying to switch to it right now. We're gonna add on 19 through 30. We'll do a couple, then I'm gonna quit. Number 19, they want you to tell qualitative or quantitative. Then they also want you to tell the level, which one of the 4 levels it's at. Again, explain your reasoning. If you want to explain your reasoning, go right ahead. I'm never going to read it. All right? Until it comes test time. And then when I say explain your reasoning, you need to know how to explain that it's at that certain level or whatever. Give me a good reason. Number 19, the top football teams in the final college football poll released January of 2000 are listed. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Texas. Number 3, Florida. Number 4, Boise State. Number 5, Ohio State. Qualitative or quantitative? Just a quality?
Because they're saying how good they are. It's not saying how many they have.
I mean, unless they're similar.
So it's just a quality?
They
It
just
doesn't-
have names.
Well, that's top 5 in the final college football. Oh,
But we
it's a
still
poll.
can't do it.
So it's a quantity because it's a poll.
It's quantity. Yep, it's quantity, number 2. Now, Lily was right, you can't really do anything mathematical with it. So that ought to tell you which level it's at, because it's got to be at the ordinal. Ordinal is the only one that can be numbers and, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So on the next one, the 3 political parties in the 111th Congress are listed below: Republicans, Democrats, and Independent. Quality, quantity, which one?
I think 2.
1 or 2?
2.
2? A quantity?
Yes.
There's naming them?
They're just naming that it's 111.
So is it 1 or 2?
One.
I don't know.
One, because it's a name.
I think it's one.
It's 1 because it's just names. Now if it's just names,
Okay. Well, that doesn't
Wait,
matter.
if it's just names and it's a quality or qualitative,
And it's
then
not
what level are we at?
nominal.
Nominal.
What? It's talking about fast.
21. The regions representing the top salespeople in a corporation for the past 6 years are given: Southeast, Southeast, Northwest, Southwest, Northwest, or Northeast, Southwest.
Quality.
So quality
It's the
again.
same as the last one.
It's the same as the last one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just giving names. Now maybe to help you out, maybe we need to do the level first, because if you look at the level there, and we know it's nominal, then what's it have to be here?
It has to be more.
Has to be qualitative, because nominal can't be quantitative. Let's do 22, then I'm done. The links of a sample of striped bass caught in Maryland waters are listed.
How easy is one?
So this one's a quantitative, everybody agree with that?
Yes.
All right, so quantitative. Now the level. If it's quantitative, what level can it not be? It can't be nominal, so we get rid of that.
I think it's
What can we do with these numbers?
We can subtract them, so.
We can subtract them, because that's going to tell everybody that my fish was longer than your fish, right? So we can subtract them. That would mean interval. Now, does that mean that it can't be ratio? If we do a ratio there, would that work?
It looks like it.
I don't know. Would a ratio work? Could we say like this fish is twice as long as that fish?
You just said my fish is bigger here.
We can say my fish.
So is it at the interval level or is it the ratio level? It's at the ratio level.
How? I mean, how, can it be both then?
It can't be both because interval level, you can add or subtract with them, which we can do here,
Yeah.
but you can't multiply or divide. Ratio level, you can add or subtract and multiply or divide.
But,
Is that so? So what you're looking at, Jenna, when you're looking at it, interval. Interval you can add.
yeah.
Ratio. So if you find something and all you can do is add, it's at the interval. Ratio, if you can add and divide, then something's at the ratio level. So if you can do both these, then it's ratio. If you can only do that one, then it's interval. Does that make sense? Finish up what you have to do on that.